This is CUNY TV, the City University of New York.
Hello, I'm Ronnie Eldridge. Welcome to Eldridge & Company. My friend Claire Reed tells a tale of liberation in her memoir, Toughing It Out, From Silver Slippers to Combat Boots. She says she owes the project to the persistent encouragement of Blanche Wiesen Cook, the distinguished professor of history at John Jay College, and her friend. Both these women passionately want the world to overflow with justice and peace, and they're my guests today, and we'll hear what they have to say. Blanche, why did you encourage Claire? Hello. First of all, I said hello.
Hi, Ronnie.
Why did you encourage her to write this memoir?
Because Claire is an
We're going to talk about you, see?
She is an amazing woman who writes poetry, short essays, and longer pieces. And she would come over, bringing the Sunday Times every week, and tell us what she was doing. And I got very, very excited because Claire has lived an amazing life. She knows everybody. She continues to know everybody. She's an activist to this day. And I love this title, Toughing It Out, From Silver Slippers to Combat Boots, because she's a fighter.
Yeah.
And I have to say, Ronnie, this is an amazing book. I have read it many times in many forms. Claire took the Graduate Center course that I did on memoir and biography, where she was the mentor for all of the young graduate students. This is a fabulous book, and you open it up to any page, any number of times, and you learn something new.
I couldn't put it down.
It's incredible.
And I think it must have appealed to a lot of different people. Why did you write it? Just because she told you to write it?
Well, first of all, I'd like you to go against Blanche, okay? Just try it.
Oh, you mean she's
I'm
so
tough.
persistent?
She's the toughest.
All right.
Okay. Why she got in her head that I had to write my memoir, I haven't a clue. But she persisted. I mean, she was a pain in the ass. And,
Be careful, we're on television.
The only way she trapped me is when she said she was giving a class and that the class was much younger and they would come up with different problems that I went through, and it would be nice if I could then stand up and tell them, I lived through this period and this is how it was.
Well, that's really the point of it. I mean, we haven't told how old you are, but you're 92 years old, and you're still an activist, you're still signing petitions, you're still talking it up, reading it up. So not only are you a role model to somebody like me, but you've lived through all these movements.
Yeah.
And from the very beginning, when a woman never thought, a girl never thought of doing all these things, and you had that struggle. So your story is so relatable. I couldn't put the book down. I started reading it. I loved it even when how it started. You grew up in a middle-class family with everything, an upper middle-class family, everything.
Yeah.
And I'm just like you. I mean, we thought, what were we going to do? We're going to grow up, get married, have children. That's it.
Yeah, but that was
and
your
not
life.
do anything.
That was the role of your
Well, you're
life.
going to take care of the house.
No, you were a woman. My mother made it very clear, this is what women do. They grow up, they get married, they have children. What happens after that, I hadn't a clue. I guess you just die.
Well, they died younger, I guess, too.
They did die young.
And, you know, I suppose if you have a lot of negativity thrown at you, you know, then the important, well, for me anyhow, it was like, am I going to let this happen to me? Am I going to take this? And it was like, no, I'm not. And it's like, remember my 90th birthday party? I had a 90th birthday party with a lot of friends, and one of my friends said, Claire, we don't know very much about your background, so would you tell us a little bit about you? And so I decided it's too boring to go into a lot. So I thought, I'm a frustrated actor. And I thought, well, if I was selling a script, just give them the highlights so they understand, how it could be a great play or a great film. And so that's what I did. And when I finished, the same friend said, can I ask you a personal question? And I said, sure. And she said, I never knew you had all this struggle and all this unhappiness and all this difficulties and how much you were battered and clobbered. So considering all that, how did you do all the positive things you did? And I remember going like this, I don't know, nobody ever asked me that question. At the end of the table was Bella Abzug's daughter, who stood up and said in the loud, just like her mother, I know how she did it, defiance, just like my mother.
And that's how it was.
And my inside voice said, yes, Claire.
And you didn't begin to defy until you were well into your 30s, right?
Right.
Mother with two kids, housewife.
I didn't begin to really defy until I met the person who was the most important person to my life, Bella
So interesting.
Abzug.
It is.
But before
Who
Bella,
was a woman who was a defiant.
Yeah, but you knew before.
but before Bella, there was SNCC.
No, it wasn't before Bella.
It wasn't before Bella?
What happened was that SNCC was, when I met Bella, I was still married.
SNCC is the Student
SNCC,
Nonviolent
when I got
Coordinating
divorced,
Committee from the Civil Rights.
and I suddenly found I had no money, I then went to Bella. No, then a friend of mine came over and she said, it would be wonderful while you're looking for a job if you would help us out in the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee in the struggle.
Right.
And that was very early.
Right.
And SNCC had a very frightening reputation in New York amongst the middle-class women that I knew and men. And so then I said, okay, I would work there, volunteer, and then I'd have time to look for a job.
You had to look for a job because of another characteristic of women who don't understand their capabilities and their responsibilities in that you paid no attention to money, right?
I didn't know anything about money.
And you found yourself in a bad predicament. Yeah. But you lived through this whole metamorphosis. And you always had that lingering question, are you really fooling everybody?
Yeah.
I think have you ever had that? I doubt it, huh?
I've never had, am
that
I
feeling?
fooling?
Yeah.
I always say my life is an accident.
Yeah.
Because all I cared about was music and sports, and I had an accident when I was a gymnast. And then I thought my life was over. And I couldn't major in phys ed, and I couldn't compete anymore as a gymnast. So my life was an accident. And then I just took whatever came to hand, and I've been very lucky, and all kinds of things came to hand. It was all an accident.
Yeah, but you searched for an education.
But I was definitely...
Once you stopped, you knew you couldn't do sports anymore, you went back.
I went to history.
Your mother didn't want you to go to college.
Oh, of course not.
She didn't even care if you went to school, right?
I went to there was a very good movie house on Kings Highway in Brooklyn called the Avalon. I graduated from the Avalon.
So all of this curiosity, you have this enormous curiosity. She didn't have it.
Oh, no.
So have you ever thought about where this resiliency and
curiosity.
these curiosity
That's your
come
favorite
from?
word.
No, well, if I have a message for young people today, and I have a youth squad of 5 young women, all under 40, from 20 to 40. I reiterate, as much as possible, keep your curiosity, keep 2 things alive. One is the child. Never let the child go. And the other is curiosity. And of course, children are curious. Mm-hmm. And keep those,
and joyful.
Keep them burning.
Is that
keep
what you
them
mean?
important.
Be the child, it's the joyousness of discovering things and the sad.
Yeah, absolutely. The
ability.
joy of the fun, first of all, keeping your sense of humor. So even when things are terrible, you look at it and you've got the humor to see how funny, that you behave so ridiculously or something. And that's a survival technique. And the other is the curiosity you know, and saying, well, I always walk down this street. You know, it's a little boring. I wonder what if I were to walk down that street? Yeah, I'm going to walk down that street and see what's over there. That can change your whole life.
And then you talk to people as you walk down the
Yeah, but
street.
I talk, you know. But then again, I also am interested in other people.
Yeah.
See, so you have to keep an interest in just being in life. Life is exciting. It's amazing. She loves the word. It's magical.
Yeah.
I said it for her, but it's true. It's magical. So why, you know, why just float through it?
Right. And not pay
Find
attention.
out all about it.
You know, I always translated that to politics.
Yeah, well, that's
And
what I do.
if, but it took a while. I mean, for some reason, I had the courage in that field, but not in other fields, to assert myself, although never really realizing that I might have been good at some of it. But I mean, even now, I can't say it. But to be honest, so you were talking about Vietnam before. We knew that it was wrong.
Oh, absolutely. Very early. Very early.
And it's the awareness that you're being told something that doesn't make sense, right?
Right.
And that's another inner thing. Do you think that's more with women than men? Is that stretching it?
I think I call that go out and find something challenging, because it's the challenge that gives you the excitement of being alive.
But it's also using common sense,
well, of course,
knowing that you don't have to have these degrees. I mean, you went and started to be, you were invaluable in political campaigns, in projects, businesses.
Why?
I don't know, you had the skill.
You were a great organizer.
You used
I was
common
a-
sense.
You were a great organizer.
I think.
And Women's Strike for Peace, Bella, what you did for Bella, what you did, you know,
Yeah.
to set up all the
you know,
office
it's-
structures.
You know, I was very traditional in the beginning. I mean, I followed, you know, though I resented every minute of it. So I always say the first 30 years of my life, no, the first 40 years of my life, I was an automaton. I hated what I was doing, but I was wound up, and this is what everybody is doing, so I went along. But I knew I wasn't alive. I didn't feel alive.
Well, that's when you were in a country club and
Yeah,
living in
and I
Harrison.
lived the kind of life that, you know, I hated. But I was convinced that there was something wrong with me, that everybody else was saying, this is the life we're living, you know, it's the greatest life. And I thought, it's self-aware. No, I'm not allowed to say that.
Believe that.
So, I mean, I don't understand, but
Something happened.
yeah, I
But
think,
also-
but you know what? It's like, Ronnie, I remember when your husband died, Bella brought us all together. What are we going to do to help Ronnie? Now, just, you know, that's the woman who was most important in my life sat down with all our friends and said, what can we do to help Ronnie? And that was how I was brought up in a very Orthodox Jewish family. But one of the most, I mean, they followed everything that, you know, God said they had to do. And I didn't believe in that. But the one thing I got from that
Mm-hmm.
connected was, I'm not alone in the world. If I am in trouble, there are other people in trouble. So it's this feeling of compassion and feeling that I feel technology has robbed us.
Right. And something that we feel is missing in the world today.
Absolutely.
Totally. It's concern for
I think
communities.
that technology for the last 20 years has changed so much that I'm still amazed.
On the other hand, there's the Occupy movement, and there are increasingly, we've got to get out there and march movements, increasing, and it's happening. It's happening. The union movement, the independent, all the things that, you know, that you've been calling for and that we've all been calling for are beginning to happen again. And we know that the internet isn't a substitute for the fact that we have to
What does it feel like
mobilize.
to organize people, not names for a petition? What does it feel like when you're doing that? And then when you've got the buses that you're filling and you go on the buses and you're down in Washington and you're marching, what comes close to that feeling? Nothing, right?
nothing but doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing that.
Yeah.
It's engaging with people, trying to convince them. Don't you see you're being manipulated? You have to try and understand. Separate for a minute. Just think, listen to Claire.
I know, if only everybody listened to us,
Right.
life would be so
But
easy.
we have a
Be a
billion
bowl of
women
cherries.
rising.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
know,
Well, it's so different.
Valentine's
now you teach
Day-
women. What are they like now?
fabulous. I mean, I feel very fortunate in that one of my best friends is Claire Reed. So I have this great chain of being. And then the veterans who are coming back, veterans for peace, veterans for, who are saying, what are we doing? And folks are really asking big questions. The future is really, I think, there are more dissertations on Emma Goldman.
Is that right?
Yeah, anarchism.
I heard this.
Anarchism,
Yeah.
So interesting.
it's happening. We have to restore the word socialism. You mentioned democratic socialism.
But they're trying, aren't they?
They
with
are
accusing
really
the
trying.
president.
I mean,
As if it was a terrible thing.
occupy everything, everywhere. So good things are happening. One of the things I want to ask you, Claire, you talk a lot about not having gone to Columbia and read to Sarah Lawrence, but
No,
you
I-
finished your book.
No, wait a
And-
minute.
No, wait.
wait.
Okay, you tell the story.
Who's
but
going to tell the story first, you or me?
You tell the story, but my question is, you finished this fabulous book.
Because
and
you made me do that, just like Bella made me do certain things.
No, come on.
Okay.
That's ridiculous.
That's
you do things on your
ridiculous.
own. That's
Okay,
doesn't
tell
make
us,
sense.
tell us.
You wanted
Tell
to
us,
do it.
as a writer, how you unpacked your heart. I mean, I think a message for the future, for the young people in your life, is that you gave us this gift, and this gift is forever. So how did you sat down and you did it. How did you do it? A writer is a writer every
Let me
day, a
tell
writer,
you,
right?
you got me into that. I went into that class. I loved being in the class because, I could get up and everybody listened. That's what an actor does. So I loved that.
And they loved her.
And they took care of me like I was 190 years old and I couldn't even find my way into the building
met
or
her
out
in.
of it. They took me.
her out.
Then they'd say to me, I'll walk you to the subway. I'd say, I swear I know how to get to the subway. Anyway, so I love those kids. And then I began to think, and I love writing. See, I love writing.
And
So
you've
I
always
sat
written.
down
Yeah.
and I thought of how I went back. I had gone to Columbia in my 20s because Columbia had, it's like Virginia Woolf says, Columbia had a non-matriculated program. And I didn't want to do anything but take literature, drama, and that's all I was interested in. And so that's what I took. I took poetry, literature, and drama. And I started thinking about how I went back a few years before I started writing this book to take a course on Virginia Woolf, who's one of my favorite fiction writers, or one of my favorite women. And how strange it was. I had gone to Columbia University in 1938, and here it was 1980-something, and there it was. I was able to relive it, and I wrote that, and I had such emotional reaction to writing it. And I thought, all right, so I'll write a little bit more. And before I knew it, I was halfway through a memoir. And I knew she was there.
Yeah.
Like Bella's with me. She lives inside me. And I want to go back to what she said before about these students of hers. The other day I had a reading in a bookstore. Her students from Hunter College, which is like 40 years ago, all showed up. She says for me, they showed up for her. and her students cling to her.
Yeah.
She is an incredible teacher. I saw how she did the memoir class. So, I guess in a way we're a good team, but she does give me a pain
Well,
in
you
the
are a
neck
good
a
team.
lot.
When you wrote about events, did you enjoy them as if you were that age doing it, or was it looking at it now and
It was looking at
there-
it now.
yeah.
Yeah, but you see, there was one other thing I was saying about my parents being so religious and all. So when I went to live in this place called Harrison, New York, in Westchester County, which was
Very
the closest
fancy.
thing. Oh, it
Very
was
fancy.
awful. It was the closest thing to living in La La Land. And everybody, all the young, wealthy, they were all children of enormously wealthy people, so they had inherited wealth. And that's all they knew, and they were loving it, you know, and they were loving everything, the things they loved to buy and all that junk. So, but through it all, I knew I had to do something that was of importance. So I went to United Jewish Appeal, and within 3.5 minutes, they recognized I knew how to do this, and I was chairman, excuse me, we were chairman. My friend and I, we were co-chairman of the United Jewish Appeal, not just for Harrison, but for all of Upper Westchester.
Oh, boy.
And so I'm saying, you know, I was naturally looking to help, I wanted to be of some value. I didn't want my life to, just like those women, end up with things and nothing more.
yeah.
See? But then I guess you also have to have, as we all know, as we all do, a head that thinks.
Yeah.
Right. And a great talent, because you write poetry.
don't
you
have
write,
talent.
Well, you don't have talent,
But
you
if
write.
you don't have talent, you certainly persist at it.
You
get
happen
enjoyment,
to be a
you
writer,
get something
and you write
terrific from it,
poetry.
right?
Yes, well, I enjoy it, yes.
That
Yeah.
concept of helping or doing something constructive, of caring about other people, that has, where is that today, do you think?
It's missing, and it's what I call being civilized, you see. And today, it's just missing. And even, look, I'm on the subway, you know, I pick people up because I want to know about their lives, young people.
Yeah.
So this young woman sitting next to me, and across from us are 3 young women, all one's busy this, one's busy that, and all. And so I tap her. She's just sitting there, looking out into the distance. So I say, where's your iPad? Where's your telephone, cell phone? Where's your so-and-so? So she says, I don't take things with me. I like to think. I said, you come home with me. She likes to think. You never hear that. And
No.
if you read the article in the Times about the teachers today saying how hard it is to teach because they're so abstract, they're so, you know, distracted by all the
Games.
different things and the games and the pictures. So, you know.
Right. On the other hand, where there is a revolt against the testing punishment society, and there is, you know, Mark Nason and all the teachers who say we have to go back to thinking, back to creativity.
No
and
kidding.
and one of the things that you're doing, which is an answer to your question, where is that consideration today, is Nesri. So you work with Nesri.org.
What's Nesri?
Okay, the National Economic
Kathy.
and Social Rights Initiative. Tell us about Nesri, because that's where you're spending a lot of your time for the future. It's what you're doing,
Yeah.
and it gives
Kathy
us all
was
hope.
here.
Oh, that's-
Kathy came
that's
to
what
my
it is.
apartment yesterday with her son. But it's, and
Kathy
also
Albusa.
Bally. Bally is Bella Abzug
Yeah.
Institute.
Leadership
Institute.
Institute.
And that's Bella's daughter created this organization. She's doing a fantastic job on it. I'm so impressed. And so again, I'm with the young people, and every time there's a big seminar and a big instruction at Hunter College, it's an all-day thing, I go there and I'm assigned the kids to help them with writing or poetry or whatever, you know. And I tell you, I'm 92 years old, and one thing I've lost is energy, and I was always up there. I mean, my whole life, I was full of high energy. And I can't walk from my apartment at 84th Street to Hunter at 67th Street. But when I leave after working all day, I don't walk, I bounce home. I
home.
go,
Isn't it
oh,
something?
Yeah,
Jesus,
it's
I had
so
so much fun today.
energizing.
Isn't
Yeah,
it something?
it's great.
So all of this, I mean, this
But
is
we
your-
all are. We're all
right.
3 of us. That's what we really hold
it's true.
together.
Maybe it's keeping us
Young.
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 Yeah.
I don't like to
Absolutely.
say that because we think about this is a legacy, and your life is a legacy.
It really
and all your
is.
work with the younger people is that they should listen to you and carry on, and hopefully, as they get older, they'll do the same things. I mean, how else do we? What else is a life? It's a waste if it's just you plunked in and you
That's
live
right,
and you leave, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it puts
that's
you
right.
in history.
I don't care
I mean,
about
you're the
history.
historian.
It does. And you know, you open to any page, there's Stella Adler, there's, you know, Alger Hiss, there's Jesse.
Malcolm X.
There's Malcolm X. These are people in Claire Reed's life. And these are people who, you know, she touched them and they touched her. There's, you know, it's SNCC. It's SNCC in a moment of great change when Claire Reed's running the Student Nonviolent Coordinating, you know.
And the Women's Strike for Peace.
Women's Strike for
Yeah,
Peace.
but when Stokely said no more white people, Claire
Right.
couldn't understand
She didn't know
that.
she wasn't
No.
white. She had-
That is a problem, right?
Yeah.
That was a big question that you had to wrestle with.
No, I didn't wrestle
didn't-
with it. I
she-
didn't even think of it.
Oh,
But
you
then
just left.
Joanne, when Jim went to
Joanne
Joanne, Jim Foreman went to Joanne Grant and said, "What am I going to do about Claire?" And Joanne said to Jim, "You have to tell her she doesn't know she's not black." Because I focus so on the
And you
work.
feel it.
And that's
Right.
more, you know, I just want to get something done. That
So
I can
let's
feel-
summarize. It's
Yeah.
the joy of living
Absolutely.
and the also the joy of
Curiosity.
curiosity and the joy of doing
And
something,
creativity.
making change.
Absolutely. And you've done it. Listen, when you
It's the
went,
same thing she does.
no, wait a minute. You said to me, I had many feelings like
Yes,
yours. I felt I
absolutely.
wasn't smart
Absolutely.
enough. I felt I couldn't run for office.
Totally.
Who would vote for her? I mean, so we've been told, you know,
Absolutely,
we've been
taking so much-
hit down. We've been told we're just nothing. We're very second, third
Well,
class
hopefully
citizens.
they're not told that anymore.
No, they aren't.
Right.
They're really not.
I'm
Yeah,
a
but I'll
decade
tell you something
behind her.
interesting.
How old are you?
I will be 72.
Oh boy, so we're she's
Yeah,
a
72, 82,
to
92.
Wow.
remarkable
Isn't that,
group.
isn't
And we're
that
still here,
incredible?
and we're still kicking.
The determination to really make things better and change the world,
Absolutely.
isn't it?
Absolutely.
And the passion that you bring to it.
And people should understand that, young people especially, because it's a gift they'll get about how wonderful and amazing to live a life and how lucky you are to be born and to be able to participate.
Well, thank you very much. What a wonderful
Thank
note to
you.
end this conversation.
Thank you so
I'm sorry
much.
it's over so quickly. If there are any people you'd like to hear and topics you'd like us to explore, please let me know. You can write to me at CUNY TV, 365 Fifth Avenue, New York, New York, 10016, or you can go to the website at cuny.tv and click on Contact Us. I look forward to hearing from you.